Welcome back to the Midnight Fire. The city sleeps, or at least, most of it does. But for some, the night is just beginning, and the only way home is on the skeletal routes of the night bus. Imagine the hum of the engine, the dim interior lights, the quiet drone of the city outside. A mundane journey. But what if one night, that journey veered off course, into a darkness you never knew existed? Tonight, we buckle up for an extended, chilling ride into the last stop on the night bus, a destination that's not on any map. Michael was a creature of habit. Every night, after his shift at the diner ended at 1 a.m., he'd catch the 133 bus. Same driver. Same sparse collection of tired souls. Tonight, though, felt different. The air was heavy still, and a strange fog began to roll in, obscuring the familiar landmarks. When the bus arrived, it seemed older. Its yellow paint dulled, the headlights glowing with a sickly, yellowish hue. The driver, usually a chatty old man, simply stared forward, his cap pulled low, his face obscured by shadow. Michael shivered, paid his fare, and found a seat near the back. The other passengers were unnervingly quiet, each huddled in their own private darkness. The bus rumbled on, but something was wrong. Michael's usual stops came and went without a pause. The streets outside became unfamiliar, the buildings taking on a gothic, almost ancient appearance. He saw what looked like a derelict asylum, then a street lined with houses that seemed to bleed darkness from their windows. He tried to speak to the passenger next to him, a woman in a heavy cloak. But she didn't respond. Her eyes were wide and blinking, reflecting nothing. A faint, almost imperceptible hissing sound seemed to come from the front of the bus. Michael felt a cold dread settle in his stomach. He tried to reach for the stop request cord, but his hand felt heavy, as if paralyzed. Finally, Michael mustered the courage to stand up and approach the driver. The bus continued to speed through the swirling fog, the engine's drone now sounding less like machinery and more like a growl. "Excuse me, sir," Michael stammered, his voice barely a whisper. "This isn't my stop. This isn't even my route." The driver slowly, excruciatingly slowly, turned his head. His eyes, when they met Michael's, were not human. They were like to burning coals in the deep shadows of his face, radiating an ancient, hungry malice. A voice, low and gravelly, echoed not from the driver's throat, but from everywhere in the bus. "There is only one route now, son. And you're on it." As the driver spoke, the other passengers moved, slowly, deliberately. They turned their heads, one by one, towards Michael. Their faces, once merely shadowed, were now visible in the dim light. They were gray, skeletal, some with holes where eyes should be, others with vacant stares that seemed to drink in his very essence. He saw the tattered remains of old clothes, dusty and faded. These weren't people. They were echoes, shells, and they were all looking at him. A cold, bony hand reached out from a seat and brushed his arm. He could feel the chill seep into his bones, a sense of profound loneliness and despair. He realized then that the hissing sound was the collective, voiceless sigh of these spectral commuters. The bus shuddered to a halt. Outside the window, a colossal, crumbling archway loomed, stretching into an impossibly dark sky. It was made of black stone, carved with symbols that seemed to writhe and shift. Beyond it, a swirling vortex of shadows and faint, distant screams. This was the last stop. The driver rose slowly, his form appearing to ripple and expand, no longer human. "Next stop," his voice boomed. Now clearly not his own, all out. "Destination eternity." The door hissed open, revealing not a street, but a chasm of utter darkness. The spectral passengers began to rise, moving silently towards the exit, their cold forms passing straight through Michael, each contact draining a piece of his warmth. His life. Michael stood frozen, the cold void beckoning. He could feel himself weakening, his spirit being pulled towards the gate. But then, through the swirling mists, a tiny, almost invisible flicker of light, a distant street lamp, a memory of his diner, his routine, his mundane life. With a surge of desperate will, he fought against the paralyzing fear. He knew if he stepped off, he'd be lost forever. Another silent commuter on this phantom route. He slammed his hand against the stop request button with all his remaining strength. The bus groaned. The driver turned, his blazing eyes fixed on Michael, a silent, furious challenge. The bus lurched, then began to move, not forward, but backwards. Away from the terrifying archway, the spectral passengers hissed in anger as their journey was interrupted. The scenery outside began to warp, twist, and then slowly revert to the familiar, if still unsettling, city streets. The driver's form shimmered, shrinking back into the tired old man. The bus lights flickered, brightening. Michael felt the coldness recede, slowly, painfully. When the bus finally reached his actual stop, the driver, now back to his normal self, looked at him with a strange, knowing sadness. "Rough night, son?" he asked. Michael could only nod. Stumbled off the bus, and ran. Never looking back, Michael never took the night bus again. He walked, no matter how far. No matter how cold. He learned that some routes lead to destinations far beyond our comprehension. So, next time you're on a late-night journey, look around you, pay attention to the stops. And pray your driver doesn't take a detour. You've been listening to The Midnight Fire. Hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss another stop on our terrifying route. Until next time, be safe and watch your step.